All right, here we have my box of goodies that I picked up. Pretty much all of these things on my recent trip overseas and to a magical place where vintage fragrances are abundant and unopened, just like this one right here, which is Chanel's number 19 Parfum. And this bottle that's in this case, which I'll show you now, is from the 1980s. I have dated it to there. It's got like that TPM, which I forgot what it was. I think it's like a estimated measurement amount or something like that. But this is a 14 milliliter bottle of Chanel's number 19 Parfum. And it is sealed. It is very much sealed. We'll talk about that seal in a second. But one of the tricky things about beautiful vintage parfums like this is that they've never been opened. So this thing has been sitting there brand new, unopened, for about 40 years. Maybe longer, I don't know. Maybe less. But as you can see, it's got the seal. And I read somewhere that if you rock the actual stopper backwards and forwards, which I'm trying to do with my hands. I thought I was muscular enough. Actually, you know what? I didn't want to put too much pressure on it because I didn't want to break the thing and, slice my hands open. So I'm trying to be gentle, but I'm trying to coerce the stopper from coming out. Unfortunately, it's sealed. It's sealed with that thread, and I think it didn't feel like silk. Some say it's silk, but to me it just felt like cotton thread. And a wax seal, the black wax seal from Chanel. One thing that you may have noticed when I was showing the actual neck of the bottle is that it's sealed with something. Now, that something is called a baudruchage. It's French. Here I am getting my trusty craft knife to see if I can get the baudruchage off. Now, the art of getting this seal on is actually a craft in and of itself that requires some kind of specialty, because as I believe, there's about, at the time of this bottle being sealed, there would have been maybe a handful or a small group of people who would have hand sealed this bottle. And they would have hand sealed it with baudruchage, with actual what they call baudruche, right? Which is usually made of like synthetic fibers like onion paper or other natural non-animal materials. But back in the day, it used to be made from ox intestine, a baudruche. That's what it's called, right? Fine membrane. It's a fine membrane where I think you wet it and then you apply it onto the neck of the bottle once the stopper is in there. And as it dries, it compresses again and it creates like a vacuum seal, like a tight seal where no air can come in and spoil the juice inside, no matter how long it's been sitting there. Here I am still struggling to get this stupid thing off. So now what the hell am I going to do? I put away the craft knife and I'm really trying to rock the stopper back and forth. It's just not working because somebody said if you rock the stopper back and forth, you should be able to take the stopper off without actually having to cut the thread that's there, because the thread, it looks nice. I like it. I like keeping it on there. Now, this may be true for newer bottles, which haven't been sitting there for decades unsealed, but for this old bottle, it seemed to be stuck. Now back to the baudruchage. It's one of the most traditional and unique perfumery techniques because it's done by hand, like I said, one bottle at a time. So not many houses actually use this method. I believe Chanel, as you can see, does it. And I'm being told, or I've read, that Guerlain and Jean Patou still use it for their most precious extraits, extrait de parfums in their collections. And they even have a name for the craftswomen who seal these bottles. They're called baudrucheuses. I probably said that completely wrong, but my French pronunciation is not that great. Baudrucheuses. That's terrible. But I'll put the word up on screen so you can see it. And these baudrucheuses, or let's just call them craftswomen, they can do about 100 bottles an hour. And then they can put the silk thread or the metal thread or whatever thread around the stopper to keep the membrane in place. And the final touch, which is a drop of wax at Chanel, they put the little black wax thing over the top of it to seal it up with the little CC icon on it, which I've just completely knocked off my bottle. And there it is. You can see, have a good look. It's got the Chanel stamp on the wax. And you can see the underside of it where the thread was. And so now I've given up and I'm cutting the thread. Which it didn't feel like silk to me. But for the silk ones, I think Guerlain uses silk. The actual bearding of the silk threads is called barbichage. Isn't that something? There's a word for everything. And I still haven't been able to get this stupid thing off. So here I am. I've given up and I've actually gone and researched what to do with this. I'm actually going to go and put it in the freezer. Someone said put it in the freezer for about 10 minutes and then come back to it, take it out of the freezer and see if the stopper comes out. Okay, I've brought it back out of the freezer. It's been there for 3 minutes. I couldn't wait. And now, oh, look at that. It just came out. It just came out so easily. Oh my God, I should have just put it in the bloody freezer to begin with. Let's see how good it is. Oh yes, this stuff is amazing. Cannot believe how well this has been preserved. It smells amazing from the bottle. I'm just going to put some on my hand. And that smells gorgeous. Probably one last thing about parfums and these stoppers is that if you're going to use your parfum all the time, go ahead, use the stopper or your fingers, and just dab yourself, whatever. But perfume is pretty, it's pretty delicate. We're not used to sort of handling it one-on-one. It usually comes and delivered to us through a spray mechanism. We don't actually get to touch the juice itself or make contact with the skin that would go back into the bottle. Now, that brief contact with your skin will quickly destroy your parfum. So if you have a large collection, like I do, what I did just then was absolutely wrong. I shouldn't have done that. What you would have to do, or what you would want to do if you want to preserve your parfum for a long time, is you would want to get a pipette or use a syringe to be able to or clean syringe. That's a good point. To extract that juice out, put it in a decant bottle or a spray bottle, or probably a decant bottle, because parfums get applied like that, and usually not by a spray. And use it that way. Use it that way when you're going to use it. Don't go ahead and stick your finger on the bottle and turn it upside down, or use the stopper to stick to your neck and your pulse points and things like that. So that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it, actually. Yeah, it is. That is my video of unboxing Chanel, a vintage Chanel number 19 Parfum from the 1980s, and a little story about how they're sealed. The baudruchage, the ox intestine. Hope we all learned something new today. And as always, thanks for watching.